5 with Jeannie, Kim, and Corbin, and we are doing exercise 2 that is still based on Dick's Sporting Goods. So exercise 2.1 is the business analytics techniques. So this goes into the 3 main categories, being descriptive, which is what happened, predictive, which is what will happen, and then prescriptive, which talks about how we can make it happen. So from there are 3 techniques that are used for each of the business processes. So for descriptive, you use time series analysis. For the predictive processes, you use linear regression. And then for prescriptive, you use sentiment analysis. So for time series analysis, what is it? It's used to predict the future values based on observations of past values that have been given. And it also allows for the observation of trends and seasonal patterns. So how do the businesses use it? It's often used to predict future sales based off of the past sales data. And then Dick's Sporting Goods is actually applying this in ways, it can be used to answer the descriptive question of how many tons of waste have we been responsible for over the years. It allows us to put more of a focus on specific times of the year when waste is higher. So then we can work towards reducing the amount of waste that we generate during those specific times of the year. And then the findings, what we could find, what we might find. Seasonality may contribute to higher or lower waste production. Different times of the year call for different measures. It can be higher around holidays than it is during non-holiday times, just due to waste. And then as years progress, we may find that production of waste has increased over time. So then looking at linear regression, this is the predictive business analytics technique. So what is it? It's a linear approach to viewing one or multiple variables in a business. So how can it be used? It's used to see how these variables affect a business as a whole. And it can be used as a predictive technique, like I said, as it can be used to view future operation outcomes. So how is Dick's Sporting Goods, how are they applying it? So it can be used for a budget forecast to see how reducing the GHG emissions and alternative packing strategies affects the budget as a whole. But it can also forecast how many customers will use the scorecard reward system that Dick's Sporting Goods puts a very big emphasis on, which can then lead to being able to predict what type of products customers will purchase. So what might they find? Finding the best alternative packaging that will help finances and contributing to the customer's wants. But it can also they can also find the different products that consumers will be buying and putting more emphasis on seasonal sports and what customers are buying from these departments at specific times. Obviously, like over the summer, they're going to be buying more shorts and tank tops, whereas in the winter, more leggings, sweatpants, jackets, sweatshirts, heavier clothing, like that. And then sentiments analysis. So this is prescriptive. This is the prescriptive example. So what is it? It extracts subjective information that's hidden within the text, and it identifies the emotional tones within said text. So it identifies what could be going on behind the text. How businesses use it, so it allows them to gain a better understanding of their customers' attitudes and opinions and emotions regarding products, practices, and services. How Dick's Sporting Goods can apply it. It can be used to answer a prescriptive question as, is there an incentive beyond the global implications that can be provided by the company to customers for actively reducing waste? Text analysis could also be used to review data and then determine how customers feel about the reducing waste and what incentivizes them to recycle and reuse bags instead of using single-use plastic all the time. And then what might they find? The text analysis of social media posts may help them determine that customers are more incentivized to use reusable bags if they are given a discount when they bring in their own bag. So the second part of this is profiling our data scientist team. So these are the 6 core capabilities, as in the communicator, data wrangler, programmer, technologist, modeler, and visualizer. So within our group, we have somewhat of an even spread, with the exception of programmer and technologist. Corbin would be really good at wrangling, whereas everyone else sort of has a buddy within the group coverage of the analysis. I think our data science team as a whole, from the table, obviously you can see that programming and building a platform for the data to be presented is our weakness. And then also from the weakness, we could try to find people who are good at programming and the technologist role and bring them in to our team to make it a full-blown team, I think. And then I feel like we have a strong communication team, able to communicate and explain in depth how it pertains to the organization's goals. And for data wrangler and modeler, we can see that there are less people, but I feel like as a whole we can all put our heads together and truly figure out like how to get it done.